Hey everyone, it's time for Geocache Talk. Whether you're at work, in the car, or wherever you are, we hope you enjoy the show. Please give it a like and subscribe on iTunes, Stitcher, or Google Play so that you can get all the weekly Geocache Talk goodness. Big thanks to the Travel Bugs for the music and my patrons Doug Jones, Joshua and Caleb Slinkard. It's their birthday, by the way. They're 27 today, so happy birthday to my twins. Tom Brotherman, Jeff Arbaugh, Deborah Burris, Joshua Johnson, Nick Hubbard, Andrew Teepkin, Cecilia Perez, and my new patron, Sydney Sawyer, Shermanator18. If you'd like to become a patron, head on over to patreon.com/geocachetalk for more details. Patrons get path tags, coins, and other geocaching swag during the year, as well as invites to special events only for patrons. Support levels start at as little as $3 a month. Well, tonight we have news from geocaching.com, our mega event update, along with our weekly product tip. And yes, this week I actually have a product tip. I get ribbed sometimes by folks when I don't do a weekly product tip. But anyway, I have one this week. So let's jump right into show number 20 for Sunday, October 23rd, as I welcome my friends, Chris and Helen, the Landsharkz, to the show. Welcome to Geocache Talk.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for having us.
Hey.
Oh, you bet. This is going to be fun. I'm fascinated by this topic, and I was hoping, this is a while back, I was thinking, I really would like to talk to somebody about this topic. And what happened was, and this is a shout out to Valena Mahar, she's like, you need to have the Landsharkz on the show. I'm like, all right, I got a contact now. So that's wonderful. We got to work this out. So geocaching news sponsored by FTF Magazine. FTF Magazine can be found at ftfgeocacher.com. And this next week there is another souvenir. Do you guys keep track of the souvenirs, geocaching.com souvenirs?
Definitely.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
We schedule our life around them.
Awesome. Well, this week's interesting. Yeah, as I've mentioned before on the show, Slinky Mama loves them because you don't have to dust them. So, yeah. So this week's souvenir is the ghost of unfound caches, and they have a nice little write-up on the the link, and it'll be in the show notes. And I need to mention, since we had to make some changes a couple weeks ago because of issues with FeedBurner, which we had to dump. I think Daryl W4 Geo Gearheads, they had to dump FeedBurner too. And I talked about it briefly last week, but something I'm doing is I'm going to be taking all the show notes and putting them up on the website. So if you go to geocachetalk.com, you can go. I'm working on getting them all put back up there, but every week's show notes will be up there, and so you can find this link. And I should have that done probably tomorrow. I'll have them all put back up on the website. But nice little write-up about little fun thing about Halloween. You can get a souvenir between October 29th and October 31st, which there was a note that somebody mentioned on Twitter about the fact that there's a span of time to find this one. You know how sometimes it's just one day that you have to find a souvenir. This one you've got a few days that you can work with to get this souvenir. So do you guys have something picked out? Do y'all have a lot of caches around you that are not found yet, or how do y'all work? How are y'all going to work this souvenir?
We are going to talk with our staff about it and come up with something and post it on social media. So we're looking at a night cache in town. There's one that's been around forever that we've been looking at that we haven't done yet. So I think that might be the one.
Oh, okay, cool. That's a good idea.
We got a lot of caches in town.
Yeah, this
Okay.
is
There's thousands.
It's a real hotbed for caching here, and there's ones that are masses and masses of the ghosts of unfound caches. So we're going to try and pick one that's going to be cool to use in our social media as well.
Oh, neat. That's a great idea. All right, good deal. Okay, well, we are going to talk tonight cruising and caching, and so first, before we do that, though, let's talk a little bit about you guys. If you would introduce yourselves and kind of tell us how you both learned about geocaching and what some of your initial experience was. I guess first start with that.
Well, we started geocaching in near the end of June 2006, which I think is the same year that you guys got into caching.
Yes, it was.
2005.
Yeah, 2005.
It was
Oh,
2005.
no, it's 2005.
Oh, 506. So we're right.
Yeah.
2005.
We have a hard
Right
time
now.
remembering how many anniversaries we got.
Yeah, we don't know how long we've been married either, so you know.
Well, same general area of time. Yeah.
2005,
Mm-hmm.
and we went out for a hike which it was fantastic. Our first cache was a hiking cache with a friend of Chris's that he was in the Navy with when he was back when he was 19, and so we went out for a hike, and he told us about this cool thing he just discovered and learned about and wanted to show it to us. Thought it would be right up our alley.
So it kind of was, and we remember looking at some of the early cache logs, and there were people that had like 100 finds, and we thought that was just an incredibly ridiculous goal to try and set because there's.
That's awesome.
But anyway, yeah, we kind of got hooked, I guess. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been a lot of fun. We use it as a travel guide more than anything now. That's one of our favorite things to do with it. Go exploring new places, but we get out on. I try and get out on the weekends too, and a little bit here and there.
Yeah. So we still go caching with Eric. His caching name is Ixter. That's Ickster, and actually it was his birthday today. Happy birthday, Ixter!
Oh wow, that's awesome.
Yeah. So we still go caching with him and his family, and yeah, he's around, and it was perfect.
Neat. So from that point forward, now, so from that point,
what happened?
Yeah, where
what happened?
So, because y'all been now, did you like for us? We had a time where ours went down because of some, as we always talk about, life getting in the way. Did you guys?
Yep.
Have y'all been pretty much straight?
No, we've been up and down.
We kind of go like this.
Yeah, not down too far, but definitely.
never down. But
right.
There's some years, and usually it's kids, work,
Sure.
moving house. There's stuff.
Yeah.
Weather.
I'd say we've never lost interest.
Never ever lost interest.
But yeah, definitely been up and down. But I think the most fun we have really is when we go traveling, and I keep going back to that. Sometimes we get asked, what is your favorite thing about geocaching? And I used to be the president of the BCGA, and I would sometimes do talks about geocaching and why. BCGA is the British Columbia Geocaching Association, and
right.
why do people get into it? What's the thing behind it? And for different people, it's different things. Some it's a walk. It's a reason to go for a walk. For some, it's a destination on a hike. It's a reason to take your dog out, whatever. But I think one of our favorite things is people hide geocaches, and usually in places they think are cool. Mm-hmm. So if you're traveling and you go find some of especially the ones with favorite points, you're going to the places that the locals think are cool. And for me, that's my favorite thing. And I think that's what keeps me going more than anything else. Is exploring these new places. So.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we've gone places, and we've just been very spontaneous, not had a lot of plans, knowing that we could rely on the geocaches to get us to places that were cool, like especially Utah.
Mm-hmm.
Been down to Utah.
Right.
And just amazing. And we were down in Austin, Texas, visiting Chris's brother, and we, went out geocaching. We sort them by favorite points. So we look at, okay, here's where we are, and then we sort it by favorite points. And then one thing we do is, not always, but sometimes change our home location to where we are, just in case there's a first to find.
Yeah, so there you go. Yeah.
We have scooped first to finds from under the locals' noses, and they're like, "What the heck? Where did Landsharkz come from?"
Right.
Yeah.
are these people from? Yeah, you were
Yeah.
down close to my neck of the woods in Austin. But that really is something. It's we are very much like you guys because like this weekend we're going to be doing a little geocaching trip up into Oklahoma, and kind of doing the same thing. We're looking for caches in a certain area that we really like, and so we're going to use. We tend to combine the same thing. We like to combine travel and geocaching.
Yeah.
So that's really something I think that, like you said, Chris, is something that when we talk to people and they're like, why would I ever go geocaching? And you can say, well, and I always, we always talk about too the fact that there are places there are geocaches that have, like you're saying, Helen, they have a lot of favorite points, but not necessarily something that you would normally go to. And so I always use example of this lock system in Oklahoma that we went to and visited, because it's not on it's not on a tour guide list of anything, but you get there and you're like, this is unbelievably cool, and you're like, there's these little places that it's hard to tell. Well, it's what I like to use to explain to people, why would you ever do this? And, recently we went to visit Geocache Her up in Kansas, and we ran over to the Kansas, Oklahoma, Missouri intersection.
Okay.
And and so what's interesting about that little spot is there is no sign. There's a plaque there, and there's a little monument. You cannot find this thing unless there was, there's a virtual there. We would never have found it. In fact, we passed the street and we're like, was that a street? Are we supposed to turn down that thing? So you turn down a dirt road. There's no signs, and boom, all of a sudden you're there. There's the monument. We took some photos and had a neat time. So there's got to be tens of thousands of those kind of stories, of things like that. So
my favorite one of those is the old MASH set site, actually, in Malibu Mountains in California.
Oh, wow.
There's a cache on what used to be the landing pad where the helicopters would come and drop off the wounded.
Yes.
And, it's a 2-mile hike through the mountains, but it's just an amazing spot.
It's awesome.
And kind of neat piece of history there too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I can. Oh, yeah. I was a huge MASH fan growing up. So, so what are some other places? And we'll talk about the main topic here in a couple of minutes. But what are some other places that you guys that come to mind when you think about places you've been because of geocaching?
Tennessee.
Yeah.
Definitely Tennessee. And we did one of those 3 corners.
Yeah, cool.
Oh, it was
Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee.
Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee.
Yeah.
And we would never, ever have known that was there if it wasn't for a geocache that was right there.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
It was a drive down a dirt road and a bit of a bushwhack, and there we were.
Our reason for going, though, was we were vendors at Geo Woodstock one time when it was in
sure.
It was
Bell
in
Buckle.
Bell Buckle, Tennessee. We were vendors, and so we added a few days.
Yeah, that was definitely there because of geocaching.
Very cool.
What else?
Now, are y'all going to go to North Carolina this next year?
No.
It's a challenge for us to make it to a lot of those. It's the distance. It's a pretty big distance, and to be a vendor at those for us means bringing a lot of product across the border and back again. What we don't sell, bring it back again, and it's a bit of a hassle actually. So I understand.
It's a bit of a nightmare. Yeah, we have to broker product into the US, broker product back out, and then it's
well, and that was pretty close to the cruise next year, which we'll talk about in a few minutes. But go ahead, tell me some more.
We're looking at GeoCoin. We're looking actually keeping an eye on GeoCoin Fest. It's just been announced in Long Beach, California.
Yes. Yeah. For next year.
That's not too far.
That's close to Disneyland too.
That's close to Disneyland. Oh yeah.
I like how Chris thinks. I really do.
And close to Mexico. We've never found a cache in Mexico. So
yeah.
you know what? yeah, it's on the radar. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
That's cool. So what are some
Scotland
other?
is another one.
Mhm.
Scotland.
Oh, okay.
Scotland, yeah.
You were.
I went to Mega Scotland, which was held in the city that I was born in. I was born in Perth, Scotland, and Mega Scotland was in Perth, Scotland. And it was just like, okay, the world's stopping. I am going to this Mega. And so I got a hold of the organizers and I offered sponsorship. I asked to be a vendor, and yeah, I made them an offer they couldn't refuse, and it was perfect. And so off I went to Scotland, and my cousin, actually, her and her husband have a business called Sharks. So it's like Landsharkz, but Sharks. They sell geocaching products in England.
That's neat.
Yeah, so we were vendors together, and because I kind of helped support their business.
Mm-hmm.
So that's nice because all of our products available in the UK, or anything people want, is available from Sharks. If they, that's another option for people.
Oh, that's a cool idea.
Yeah.
So how was finding a cache back in your home country?
It was amazing. I found out, which I didn't know all the time I lived there. I used to tell people I live in the middle of Scotland. I live in the center of Scotland.
Right.
There's a geocache called Centrality. It is the geographic center of Scotland.
That's
awesome.
It's
literally 3 miles outside the village where I was raised.
Well, you were right then.
I was right. So that was very cool. Yeah. It was out in an area where there used to be a Pictish settlement, like old, very early inhabitants of, Scotland before it was Scotland. So it was a really gorgeous area, beautiful area. And I was very, very glad I did that. Plus, there's a distillery tour of geocaches. You can go from distillery to distillery, geocache to geocache.
Oh, very cool.
So that's pretty neat. Cool.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Scottish tourism are getting into geocaching and using geocaching to bring people to their regions.
Oh, great. Yes. We took a family trip to Scotland. I mentioned before the show, but we started in Edinburgh. We started in Glasgow and worked our way clockwise around the country and ended up back in Edinburgh before we left. But love the country of Scotland. Just enjoyed it tremendously. But that's neat how countries are starting, or some tourist boards or whatever are starting to look at combining geocaching in with some of their tourism slant.
Yeah, we get a lot of inquiries from the ones in Britain or mainly Scotland, for custom coins that they want to give out as part of their promotion. So people get a passbook and they go find so many caches, and then they can go either get a coin as a gift or purchase it after they've completed this series. So kind of like a geo tour. I don't know if there is any official geo tours there, but so we get those sorts of inquiries because of our business. But then when we go there on holidays, we're going, okay, we know what we're doing when we go there.
Right.
We've been involved in a lot of those sort of geocaching tours and geo tours, even up in our region too, in British Columbia and other parts of Canada.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, we've worked with quite a few regions around the world, just either as advisors or actually on the committee to use geocaching to help bring people to their region. So like geotourism. Okay.
Yeah. Very cool. Yeah, we've kind of briefly mentioned, but I want to mention it at this point and kind of talk very briefly about because we want to get into cruising. But you started, you've got a geocaching business, Landsharkz, LANDSHARKZ.ca. If you want to go to that website and check it out. But when did you guys start Landsharkz.ca?
That we started in 2006.
Okay.
Yeah. That was about a year after we got into caching. We started the business.
Oh, neat.
Kind of by accident. We were designing map and interpretive signs for BC parks. We were out in the parks a lot.
Very cool.
So we had all the graphic design software. We were using it daily anyways. And we helped the British Columbia Geocaching Association. They wanted to design a British Columbia coin. So we kind of entered a contest with a design. People loved it. And then it came up to, okay, where are we going to get this produced? Who's going to do this? Who's going to put up the money? And we said, well, if you want, we're comfortable with taking this one step farther and designing it ready for production. And so we did that, and then ended up getting it produced, and went back to designing signs, thinking, okay. And that was the very first British Columbia geocoin in 2006. It's blue. It's got orca, 2 orca, First Nation and traditional orca. It's quite a popular, sought after coin.
Yeah,
so that
I've
was
seen
our
that.
very first one. And then we started getting people asking us, "Can you design coins for us? Can you design coins for us?"
Right.
So it kind of grew from there, but then it's morphed now more from just geocoins. Now we do a lot of challenge coins for military and police and fire departments and stuff. Not related to geocaching.
Right.
at
No,
all.
right.
So
very cool.
Yeah. So it's growing and just keeping us crazy busy. And as part of the geocaching side of it, with the geocoins, we've sort of augmented that with other geocaching supplies. So now we have a full-fledged online geocaching supply business.
Wow.
Yeah.
We own the Canadian Cacher brand. So the mascot's a little guy named Beaver Dude.
Yeah.
Like the Canadian Cacher Beaver. So we have a whole line of geocaching products that are all branded Canadian Cacher, or just generic branded products. Plus we bring in things from geocaching.com and some other suppliers as well that we have, really good relationships with, like Cache Advance. Happy to mention Lisa's business, because she supports ours and we support hers.
Sure. Very cool.
Yeah.
That's really neat. And then if you go to the website, there is a little spot on there about travel.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we're going to talk. We're first going to talk about the tour or the cruise y'all just came off of, and then we'll talk about next year's. But is that how many of those have been sort of Landshark
initiated and led
cruises? Yeah, how many of y'all done now?
That was the second.
That was the second official one. We've been geocaching, like geo-cruising ourselves.
Okay.
But we're officially promoting it and inviting other people to, sign up and come along with us as part of a group, and we kind of be the tour guides and the hosts and stuff. We've done 2 now, one for the Caribbean and then this one for Alaska.
Oh, very cool.
The last one.
Oh, okay, great. So let's, I'm going to share, let me get my screen share set up, and we're going to look at some photos, and if you guys can maybe talk through how everything went, and let me do that. So, all right. You see that okay?
Yeah.
Yes.
Hey, Landsharkz.ca.
Hey, there we are.
Yay, there we are. So this one just finished up. It's only been what? When did y'all get?
It was late August.
Yeah.
Okay.
We were lucky to have some incredible weather. Actually, the weather on the Alaska cruises can be a little bit iffy, but we had a couple of mornings of sort of, you wake up and it's wet. It's obviously been raining, but we didn't really get downpoured upon.
Right.
But then in Ketchikan on our last port visit, it was shorts and t-shirt. It was really warm.
But we started off the cruise with a bit of a meet and greet on the first sea day, which is what the top picture there is. The group, and we talk about what we're going to do, some of the places we're going, some of the things that we're going to expect them to see, and the shore excursions and so on. We have a little gift for everybody, and make sure everybody gets a lanyard with a name so that we can sort of identify each other. And cool. We actually also had there's Mr. and Mrs. Land Monkey right there for everyone.
That's right. Yeah, they were on 2 shows ago, was it?
Right there.
Yeah.
They've been on a few. It's been a few shows, but yeah, they've been on a few shows back. Also, I want to mention, and I'm gonna put it in the show notes as well. But if you're interested in this, and I'm always, like I said, I'm interested in this topic. But if my listeners want more information about this cruise, I'm going to put it in the show notes. The Geo Gearheads show that was done with Mr. and Mrs. Land Monkey were on Gearheads talking about the Alaska cruise, which was a fun. They're a lot of fun to listen to. But they tell about the cruise as well, but. I
think they mentioned about the hot tub earth caching, right?
Yes, they did. Yes, they did. They wanted And so Daryl was actually interested in because they suggested Daryl and Scott Burks, because they always go out on Christmas geocaching.
Okay.
And so their joke was about getting getting one of those hot tub limousines and
Right.
going around geocaching and then being in the hot tub, which I don't think the time of year really probably lends itself to that. So anyway, but so yeah, so
Yeah.
So the cruise is the cruise is by, obviously you're not in charge of the cruise. You're in charge of the people that are your little group that's going on the cruise.
Well, yeah, yes and no. I mean, we kind of act as you could say sort of guides and helping coordinate things. So, but there's, I guess, you can be as involved or not involved as you wish. So you don't actually have to do what we're doing. You know, anybody that comes along is welcome to. But we kind of put it across like this: we enjoy cruising, we enjoy sharing our adventures with other people, and here's what we're going to be doing. And we can coordinate some of the shore excursions and so on, so that we can go geocaching as a group and share the experience. But if you want to do your own thing, fill your boots. You don't have to stick with everybody else. So it can be as much or little as you wish, kind of what everybody else is doing. And that goes everything from dining through to the onboard activities to the shore excursions.
Okay.
Because some people came on the cruise with their family or with kids or like adult children.
Sure.
And so, you know, there might have been one cacher in that group of 4, for example. So so that port, they might, you know, go do other activities and not come on the geocaching trip, the shore excursion that we planned, or they might come on it. That was up to them. You know, how they want to spend the day. So.
And the other thing, I guess, is that with these excursions and so on, it's as much or even more really about exploring the place and it's definitely, we want to get some geocaches in the locations, but it's not about trying to get all the geocaches, as many as you can. It's not about numbers. It's about experiencing having some adventures together and experiencing some new places. And that for us is really, it's how we travel. It's what we enjoy. But we also like to light up the map in the different places. So
yes,
so well, it's a little
that
mix
is
of the two.
That is very much what Susan and I do. We do exactly that. We like to go to a place, and like we recently went to Kansas. We wanted to go to one of the Little House on the Prairie museums. Susan's a big fan of, and so, like you said, we didn't find every geocache in that area. We found, you know, the virtual that was there. We met up with a new friend of ours that lives in that area. We did some geocaching together, but yet we did not. We're not really numbers people.
Yeah.
We don't, and so Susan and I don't. You know, we kind of keep track of it. I mean, that was our 1,000th geocache that we had found was at the Little House on the Prairie Museum. So we kind of, we obviously did some coordination there to get that. But that was what I think intrigued me about hearing about the stories about this trip was, in, you know, listening to the Land Monkeys talk about how this was done. So do you, how much do you talk to people that are going to be on the trip beforehand, or how do you determine how much, or do you just kind of give them a lot of information and let them sift through it to figure out what caches they should find? Do you give them like a list of, here's a couple of favorites, or okay?
We do pocket queries for the area beforehand.
Okay.
And like for this next cruise, we actually, well, for Alaska, we had a reviewer along with us.
Oh, cool.
So RCA 777, the picture you have right now with the glacier and the lady in the purple jacket on the far right.
Right here?
He's next right beside her. That's his wife. And that's our friend Roy. Roy's from Ontario. Cool. He's a reviewer there.
Cool.
So yeah, Cache Shadow. So
neat.
he kind of offered to look after the pocket queries. Now, it was pretty easy going to Alaska and going to these ports because, you know, it's not like Victoria or Vancouver where there's like, you know, thousands of caches.
Sure.
So we kind of just did a big bullet of all the caches there, and plus the route all the way up and back, and got the earth caches.
The one thing
we had that on our website, so people could download that off the website and look through it themselves.
Oh, cool.
And we did the one thing we did sort of plan. You could kind of do as much a little caching as you wanted. But at the same time, we did tell people, okay, these are the earth caches that we hope to get, and here's how we're going to do that. And there was a little bit of coordination that we did. Mostly, I think we talked about it with them at the introductory sort of meet and greet that we had. But being that some of them were going to be done from the cruise ship, we kind of looked ahead and planned, okay, we're going to do this one, and like the Marjorie Glacier, for example. You do that from the ship, and the ship sort of sits there in front of the glacier. Just amazing. Oh my goodness, it was amazing.
Oh wow.
But
yeah, I'd heard there was some things you could do, like earth caches you could do from the ship.
Yeah.
The day that we were in Glacier Bay, all the itinerary for the cruise ship said was cruising Glacier Bay.
Yeah, that's
and there
the
was
one there.
There was a naturalist or a couple of naturalists that came on board and did interpretation from this room, the Crow's Nest, which had a fantastic view. And it was on speakers, so you could hear it on different parts of the cruise ship as well. And they actually just sort of hung out there for an hour up near one of the glaciers,
Marjorie Glacier.
Marjorie Glacier, and that's when this calving happened, and Chris managed to catch a photo of it. But it was really
I was standing there with my camera pointed in that thing.
Right, you just were there, and boom.
I wasn't missing it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That was the one where Tracy, Laura, and I were in the hot tub.
Yes,
caching.
that's awesome. Caching from a hot tub. Oh yeah,
got to be done if you can do it.
That's awesome. Well, so then now some of these are all pretty standard excursions for Alaska trip. Ketchikan is very much built. I mean, they are one of the major stops, I guess, on an Alaska cruise. So
that's right.
So when you were planning for have you ever been up to Ketchikan before?
No.
Was this y'all's first time? Okay.
This was our first time to Alaska. So what happened on the Caribbean cruise was we only planned one group shore excursion and in Barbados. And then the rest of them, we just kind of said to people, you know, feel free just to plan your own thing. We don't want to make, you know, force you to have our holiday.
Right.
But,
so one of the things we also did, though, don't mind if I interrupt.
Go ahead.
Go for it.
One of the things we also do is on these cruises, we will find a spot on the cruise ship. We'll do a little scout around on the first day. We'll find a spot that sort of looks like it's going to be able to handle a few dozen people if necessary, and will be available. So sometimes it's one of the lounges that, you know, sort of on the upper deck or something. Right. And we'll arrange to meet everybody at say 8 o'clock or 7:30 or something like that. We'll look at the schedule with dinners and everything. Right. And we'll meet there, and then we'll just have an informal get together and touch base on what people are doing and what we're planning on doing the next day. So on the Caribbean cruise, what happened is that we would do that, and then a lot of people were just, okay, what are we up to next day? And we realized, I guess that a lot, you know, that it would have made a lot more sense to have planned something in each place that people could opt out of, rather than not having something planned in each place and then trying to figure out what we're going to do.
Sure.
So so that worked out really well for this one. The train ride, for example, we had a full bus load of people. I was gonna bribe the bus driver, but he didn't need a cash bribe. But I was going to, if I had to go just past Carcross into the littlest desert.
I heard about this. Yes.
Yeah.
Because you want to find a cache up there.
We wanted to find a cache up there. There was an earth cache that was about 5 minutes past Carcross, which is where the bus would normally drop us off to catch the train. So we talked to the driver. He was
talked to him to go up there.
Yeah, so he took us up there. That was really good.
Yay!
And
that's
then,
awesome.
Well, the night before, at our 8 o'clock meeting the night before, we reminded everyone that's going on the train trip, if we have any chance of getting, you know, to the littlest desert, we're going to need to be at that bus early because we want, you know,
Sure.
we
As
knew
soon as it's there, we need to be on.
like
the
You
road.
gotta
as soon
go.
as
You
that
gotta
bus is
go.
there,
Yeah.
we got to get on it because it drives. It's a long journey from
Mhm.
Skagway all the way up to Carcross. It lets you off. You've got like 15 minutes there. Then you hop on the train and you train all the way back down again. So
Right.
here we are saying, can you take us 5 minutes farther to this earth cache? And we also need to be there for a little while. So we said to everyone, when you get off the ship the next morning, you got to race out there and get out there, be ready to get on the bus because we're going to try and, you know,
If the bus is even there.
if the bus is there,
Right.
we want
We'll
to
try and
get
get it.
fully loaded and get on the road early so we kind of buy 10 minutes of time if necessary.
And we had 50 odd people
We had
there, all ready to
50 odd
go.
people. They were
Early
all
fifth.
standing there waiting, they're ready to go. It was great.
That's awesome.
And the
Yeah.
driver was gung ho. He was right into it. He's like, yeah, let's do it.
Oh, neat.
So
Yeah,
that was fun.
I heard that that people got together and kind of made sure that their notes all, you know, that they were correct and
Yeah, we did that on the last day. It just so happened that this particular cruise has a C day at the front end, and there's like port, and then
Okay.
a C day at the back end. So we had the meet and greet, and I did a photography seminar on the first day.
Very cool.
And then the last day we had a little get together. We actually, this was not planned at the beginning of the trip, but during the trip we realized we could book a room, and so we arranged to have another little meet and greet at the last day, just to talk over the earth caches and have a sort of a final touch base before everybody went on their way home.
Very neat.
So before we went, we actually, all the earth caches, I went through and made PDFs of them all, put them in date order. So these are the ones we're doing on these dates. And I highlighted all the questions and I said, you know, this is what you need to read when we're out there. So people, and I said, you can either, you know, save it on a handheld device, print it off, but you don't need to. I had a paper copy with me. So then we went through all that on the very last day. We went through every earth cache question by question, just to make sure, because I offered to submit answers. Unless earth cache owners, you know, on behalf of the group, I said, I'll submit answers on behalf of the whole group.
Sure.
And just, you know, confirm with the earth cache owner that that's okay with them. But I want to make sure that I'm putting in answers that you guys all agree with. And if case there's something I don't know, perhaps you could help me, you know, if there's a couple of areas. So we kind of had a bit of a discussion about some of them, and then
you're all standing there. Sure.
Yeah. So like we own a lot of earth caches, and I know I don't want to get 54 emails if I can get one.
Right. Because yeah. And you're all standing.
They're all going to be the same.
They're all going to be the same, really.
They're all the same. You're all standing right there. So exactly.
Yeah.
Well, so next year, I'm going to talk about this trip, Canada, New England, 2017. So this looks really cool, and y'all have a really good write up even already. It's 9 months away, and you're still you've got some good information here. So, so you're going to be on. Now, was the last one Holland America, or was on another cruise line?
Yes.
The last one was Holland America. The one before that was
Royal
Caribbean.
Okay.
So
all right.
we're not tied to anyone.
Sure.
Yeah, it just coincidentally happened.
Whichever one's best that you want to do. Yeah. What's interesting is a couple tweets I did this week. I actually went and found this ship and used it in some of the tweets. I don't know if y'all noticed that or not.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I went and found the Venum. Yeah, that's the one. So you're gonna be going to 6 U.S. Canadian ports of call. Now is that? I've never been on a cruise. That's why I'm learning. Hopefully everybody else is kind of learning as we go. Is that a lot of ports of call, or is that a quality amount?
It's a 7-day cruise. So that's actually a lot for,
well, the last one is Montreal. You arrive in Montreal. Yeah. So it's considered one of the port of calls because it's the final spot. And I think they consider Boston. Yeah. So there's Boston, Bar Harbor, Halifax, Sydney, Charlottetown, and then Quebec City and Montreal. So yeah. I mean, for people that have never been to any of those places, they're going to 7.
Yeah. That is really interesting.
What's really neat is so what ends up happening is you spend anywhere sort of between 6 and 10 hours or something like that in each of the ports. Yeah. So there's lots to do on board the ship, but at the same time, these places have some amazing history. Hel and I have actually been to, where we've been, Boston, Halifax, Sydney, Charlottetown, Quebec. I've been to everyone except Bar Harbor. I think you have too, right?
Wow, neat.
Yeah. So unlike some of the other cruises we've done, we've been to most of these places, and it's just amazing. It's beautiful, absolutely beautiful ports of call. I'm sure Bar Harbor is too. I've heard it's really nice.
Mhm.
And the history that's in some of these places, like for example, that when the Titanic sank, a lot of the people were brought to Halifax, and then there's a lot
Halifax,
of burials.
yes.
There's a lot of graves in Halifax, for example, of Titanic
Interesting. Yeah.
people.
Some history there.
Up not far from Sydney is Fort Louisbourg, which changed hands between the British and the French numerous times back in the 1700s, and it's a
Oh,
full reconstruction of
interesting.
this
Yeah.
fort. Charlottetown is sort of the birthplace of Confederation for Canada.
Mhm.
Quebec City is 400 years old. It's an amazing
It's a
historical city.
walled city.
Oh,
So
interesting.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
so it's really neat. And then actually, we're going to wind up in Montreal on the 1st of July, and July 1st is Canada Day. It's basically the celebration of Canada's
Yeah.
independence,
I saw
or
that.
Confederation.
150th centennial.
Yes,
It's a big
so
celebration.
there's a lot of stuff planned, and we're what, 2 hours, I guess, from Ottawa, which is the capital of Canada. So
Right.
there's a whole, in the Montreal Ottawa region, between those two, there's a lot of celebrations going to be going on. So it's going to be a lot of fun on July 1st. So
Neat.
it's the last day. Yeah.
And for geocaching, Halifax is very
Mhm.
close to Canada's very first geocache.
Oh,
So
okay.
we're hidden by East River. So we're hoping, the plan is to do an excursion that we arrange ourselves, that goes
Sure.
out to Peggy's Cove, which is gorgeous waterfront area, and
Mhm.
then to Canada's first geocache, and then back to Halifax, to downtown, so people can then go and explore Halifax for a few hours by themselves, because there's so much to see and do in Halifax.
Oh,
But for
cool.
anyone who wants to log Canada's very first geocache, that would be the excursion to be on. And yeah, this would definitely be a great group to do it with.
Very neat. So, yeah, so there's stay tuned to this page, travel.landsharkz.ca, as you guys, keep updating and sending out information on this trip. Yeah, this is for me, it's an area of the country. I've been a lot of parts of the U.S. I've never been in a couple different countries, but I've never been up in this area. Never been to Canada, and so this is a fascinating look at this area of the world that I think I would definitely want to go visit. I've been to Boston, but now, so yeah, everybody, kind of keep track of this. And do you have a list for people to where people can get, or how do people usually get updated on? I'm gonna stop sharing for a minute here. So, how?
Well, there's a Facebook page.
Okay.
Maybe Helen, you want to talk about?
Yeah, we have a Facebook
so
page. It's called Geocaching Adventures with Landsharkz.
Okay. Cool.
And so that's specifically
good
for
page.
Travel.
Okay.
Yeah. So we have our business Landsharkz Facebook page, and then this is the travel one, is Geocaching Adventures with Landsharkz.
Okay, cool.
But also, when one signs up for the cruise, then there's
Mhm.
another Facebook page which is specifically for the cruise
people. Yeah.
And then we'll send out emails and things like that with
Sure.
updated information and so on. But
Okay,
right
yep.
now, we're still in the process of just finalizing what the shore excursions are going to be in those different ports.
Mhm.
So those are not on the site just yet, although they're going to be similar kind of adventures as we've done in the past on the other cruises, but
cool.
we just haven't made the final calls to which ones yet. So they're going to go up there soon.
Right. And so, and I'll have a link in the show notes as well, as far as for the Facebook page for people that have interest in just travel and all that. But now this is interesting. This trip is a one-way cruise. It's going to go one direction. So they're not going to bring you back to Boston. Now, is that as far as you guys know about just cruises in general? Is that abnormal, or is that kind of?
It varies, actually. A lot of cruises do go in and out of the same place, and if that same place is close to home, then that's really convenient. If you're flying in and out of somewhere, then it almost doesn't make any difference. You fly into one place and you fly to somewhere else. But repositioning cruises typically do a one-way thing, where cruise ships, like at the end of the Alaska season, they're all going down to California. There's one-way cruises there. The longer Alaska cruises, there are 7-day Alaska cruises where you go all the way up to Juneau, and that's basically too far
Anchorage.
or Anchorage rather.
Anchorage,
Not
wow.
Juneau, Anchorage.
Mhm.
So they go all the way up to Anchorage, and then you have the option of staying on the ship for a second week to come back, or that is a terminus point for the cruise where people can get off and then fly home, or maybe take another way home, like a train or something like that.
Right.
They can take the train all the way, but
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
so
just
there's this some people cruise up to Anchorage, then they get the train to the Yukon, and then
Right.
they might fly home from somewhere up there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
one-way cruises, there's quite a few. Like this one we're doing, you could do the opposite. You could fly to Montreal, get on the cruise ship, and do the same route, end up in Boston, and then fly home.
yeah, the week after, but then you won't be with us. So
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun to go cruising with other geocachers because you
I was
got
wondering
a similar
about that.
because you have something in common to share the adventure with, even if it's not just the geocaching adventure. You go on, you're exploring something new, but you got something in common with people, and it's a lot of fun to share the adventure with other people that
Absolutely.
that you kind of share that.
It's kind of like enjoying an event with others, but you're moving and doing the event every day for the whole trip,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you
nobody
guys
has to drive. So
right. That's
Yeah.
that's a perfect trip for me. I don't want to be driving around, let somebody drive me around. So a couple things about the sort of cruises and geocaching in sort of in a general sense. On the trip, you provided or you guys would sort of get together in an informal sense for dinner, or okay.
Well, I tell you, actually, I'm gonna this has come up a number of times. Sometimes when we talk to people about cruising, and some of the cruise lines, not the ones that we've been on to date, but some of the cruise lines do advertise, you can go dining whenever you want. So what we do is we try and book a single time block of tables. So when you do that, basically you always end up sitting at the same table with the same folks, but then you're right next to other people within your group, and you've got the same waiters, so they get to know the things you like. They get to know you like sugar in your coffee or not, or whatever, that maybe you like a glass of wine with your at the beginning of your meal, and then you like a certain type, whatever that is. They get to know you, and they just sort of and the service just kind of flows really nicely. But you're not fixed to that dining time. So if you want to eat at a different restaurant, if you want to stay ashore, there's maybe you're ashore till 10 o'clock at night or something on a longer day, shore day. You don't have to be there for dinner, but it does give you the option to be dining with your friends and dining and be with the servers that kind of know you. So we really like doing that because it gives everybody an opportunity to sort of be in the same area, have a chat, talk about the day and so on. And then so that's I wouldn't say that's an informal get together for dinner, because it's formalized with the cruise ship that time is set for us in a we'll maybe have half a dozen tables that are our tables, and that's sort of set in the schedule for us if we want it. And then informally, we have, as I was saying, we have to sort of once every evening at say 8 o'clock or 7:30 or whatever it is, and we'll get together in a lounge or something like that, and just have a quick chat about what we're doing the next day and how things went for people and so on. And those have been a lot of fun, actually.
The evening chat is good as well for people that didn't come on our group excursion, but went and did their own thing. They went hiking, or they went off and did something with their family. They often will come back and share about what they did or caches they found. So it's just a great way to just get together and just have a quick chat at the end of the day, touch base, and hear everyone's stories while they're still fresh.
Sure. No, that's a neat idea. Because like you said, I like how you've kind of switched things around a little bit in the sense that from the Caribbean trip to this last trip, and that is you're sensitive to what everyone wants to do, but I like the idea that you've kind of prepared something that I can sort of work off of, because I think like you said, I think I would want to, most nights I'd want to be there because I'm more likely won't know too many people. We'll have you meet people on a trip, but you it's kind of neat to meet geocachers and be able to kind of hang out and tell war stories about geocaching. But yet, like you said, if you want to run off for something, even on the ship, and go eat somewhere else, you can do your own thing. But then I like that idea that you guys have something sort of set. Kind of like you said, the excursions, I like that idea that here are some recommended excursions, people who have been on cruises before, they're avid geocachers like me. Therefore, I've got something I really can really sink my teeth into. But yet at the same time, if I've done some research and there's something I want to do a little different, I can run off and do that.
Even the shore excursions that we've done that have been sort of more formalized, let's say you chose to do that with us, we always try and make sure that there's short enough that there's time for you to do your own thing as well. So you're not going to be stuck doing just that and then get on the ship and off we go. You would definitely have anywhere between 3, 4, 5, sometimes even more hours to yourself in that city or that location to explore on your own too.
You can do a little combination of the two of them together on each other.
So I think that works out well, and it's a lot of fun. Yeah.
So I know we can all go look on, go Google, what you should do what you should do to prepare for a cruise. But from your guys' perspective, what are some things that somebody who's never been on a cruise before, but yet wants to, and is a geocacher, what are some things you really suggest that they either prepare for, bring with them? What are some things that you guys have had your experience with that you think are sort of highly recommended that you either do or bring with you on the trips?
Well, I would say there's a lot of people geocaching with smartphones nowadays, and I'd say for a cruise, you really want to bring a GPS.
Okay.
And have it, loaded up, ready to go. There's times when
I got an idea.
There's no cell service.
Wait, Chris has got an idea.
Also, it's a good idea to make sure, because a lot of the cruises go multi-country. So you want to make sure that your data plan, if you are going to use a cell phone and there is service, that your data plan is going to be set up so that you get, you're not spending a lot of money roaming in different countries.
So
especially the next one starts in the U.S., ends in Canada. So you need to plan accordingly.
Yeah, even the Alaska one. It started in Canada, it went through
and ended up U.S.
We ended up in Carcross in the Yukon. So
the Skagway trip, we left Skagway, Alaska, we went through British Columbia and into the Yukon and then back again. So, but people should, because there's times when there's no cell service, no data, like you just need things on a GPS is probably best. There's some of the places that we might go in Halifax, not in Halifax, but when we get down to Peggy's Cove, or occasionally you're in a rural community and all of a sudden you go, oh, I don't have service. The person next to you does because they're on a different company, or you need to use your roaming or whatever. So it's a good idea to do your pocket queries and put them on a GPS if you can.
Right. No, that's really good advice.
Yeah, bring lots of GPS food. Bring your cables. So the nice thing about cruising is you get into your room, into your cabin, you can unpack.
Oh, that's true.
Goes away.
Yeah.
But you can have your little area where, this is where we charge everything. An area where you charge everything. A section of the counter.
A section of
the counter
cabin,
which is used for charging. So all your cables are there, easy to grab.
Right.
I think another thing to keep in mind, still on the data and cell phone stuff, is that data is actually very expensive on board the ship. So if you decide to use the shipboard data, they charge fairly handsomely for use of data. So you want to have as much as you can. Yeah. So wait till you're in port to use data in a coffee shop or something, or just have stuff preloaded on your GPS.
Yeah. Well, that's a good place to make money if you own a cruise thing. It's kind of like an airplane, And now some of them provide Wi-Fi, but I'm sure it's outrageous prices. So yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Other
And-
things, I guess, you want to, you don't have a baggage limit on the ship, so you can bring as much bags as you want. But if you're flying, of course, you may have limitations with the bags there. But if you're
That's interesting.
near the port, you can,
Mhm.
yeah, you
That's
can bring as much
interesting.
as you want.
Interesting.
You can
I didn't.
bring on as much as you want. We see people packing on like wedding dresses and the people that are going on to get married.
Oh yeah, that's a neat idea.
They bring lots of stuff.
Yeah. Well, so did you bring did you bring us like I have a big clunky geocaching bag, but there's times when I really need to create sort of a geocaching bag light. You know what I mean?
It's a micro bag.
Yeah, a little micro bag. Do y'all carry all your stuff with you, like
No.
to fix caches and
No,
baggies?
just kind of tone it down a little bit, I guess, just because especially if you're flying with,
Yeah,
you know,
well,
because you gotta have room for clothes too. I guess the other thing on the cruises,
clothes. Who needs clothes?
I always carry
Geocaching. I just need one set of clothes, right? That's all I need.
They do. A lot of the cruises do have a formal night. It used to be a real like tuxedo type of night, and but it's a good idea to make sure you got a collared shirt and a tie for when they do that. They'll often do maybe 2 formal nights. So that just means that dinner and everything is a little more dressed up than usual, but it's not a lot of people were kind of shying away from that. No, I'll just go to the buffet that night because I don't want to get dressed. But it's actually it's kind of fun, and it's nice. It's not something to be afraid of. Just bring a shirt and a collar and a tie, and it's easy enough for the guys.
Tuxedos are no longer required.
No, they're not.
No.
There'll be people in tuxedos, but
right.
There was very few people in tuxedos. Whereas the previous cruise, there was a few more, and the cruise we actually did ourselves prior there was even more. But this time, I don't recall seeing maybe more than 1 or 2. So it's not necessary. So an informal night's nice. You know, just get dressed up a little more. You know, put a tie on, put a dress on.
Sure.
And,
I don't put dress on.
It's a cool idea.
Yeah,
that's probably not a good idea for Chris, but which I don't know. I'll just what they
each his own, right?
What they do up in Victoria, British Columbia, I'm not quite sure, but so I don't need to really drag all my geocaching stuff with me.
I took pencils. Like I always like to carry extra pencils because it seems I'm always finding caches without a writing implement. And I carried spare log sheets, but those are all lightweight. So I could do some minor cache maintenance without, doing a major thing that I might do at home if I found a cache that needed help. And I carried small little signature tags. And then I did bring some of the coins and tags that we made for the cruise to actually leave unactivated in caches up there. Just kind of
good idea. Yeah, that is another good idea, is plan ahead. That if you want to drop off a travel bug, did y'all find a lot of size containers that you could drop something in, or again,
quite a few actually.
You plan ahead. Obviously, you can you look ahead at what caches in a sense you want to find, and so that's neat. Yeah, that's very cool.
Another thing I think for geocaching cruises, occasionally there's a temptation for people to try and book themselves an event when they get to a location.
Right.
And our recommendation is not to do that. We know people in a lot of the ports, and we're actually going to be talking to some of the locals who are setting up events.
Right.
But we've seen, and we have a lot of cruise traffic actually through Victoria here, and we've seen a number of cases where somebody will book themselves an event and the weather's kind of bad and the cruise ship doesn't come in. So they don't even make it to their own event. So unless you got a really close link to a local who can kind of be your backup lead for an event, it's a little bit
taking a bit of risk.
And you're in somebody else's backyard. It's in a way, it's kind of nice to let them host an event.
Yeah, it can be kind of and like you said, there's a little bit of some uncertainty. I was listening to the show, the Geo Gearhead show, and Land Monkeys were talking about how, I think, did you guys on the Alaska cruise, you ended up going to a spot that was it was kind of up in the air whether you were going to make it there to that particular location or not, and ended up y'all did go there. Okay.
That was it was the Earth cache after the smallest desert. So we asked the driver to take us to the littlest desert. Well, I guess he must have taken geocaches before, because he said, well, there's this lake a little farther on. If you want, we can go there too. And it was the earth cache that I'd said to people, look, don't get your hopes up. I don't think we're going to make it there.
Right.
But then we ended up getting there. Most of us stayed on the bus. He said, okay, one person can go off and photograph everything. So yeah,
cool idea.
Laura was telling the story about that one too on Geocaches.
Yeah. So that's neat. So very cool. Go ahead.
In Halifax and in Charlottetown, Quebec City, and likely Montreal, we know people in all those ports. And so we will probably ask the locals if they want to, would they host an event?
Okay, cool.
We found that on the Caribbean cruise, there were events that people were hosting either from our ship or other ships, but often you were off out exploring and you'd go, oh my goodness, we should really go back for that event at 3:15, but wow, we're out here having this great time, you know?
Right.
Because you don't really know what you're going to expect when you get there.
Yeah.
And the other thing is sometimes people will set coordinates based on a Google Earth snap, and it ends up being like behind, just in a bad place. It's behind a fence or something like that. And so, yeah,
so we're going to work with the locals.
Yeah.
Good.
Plus we'll try and do them either. Yeah. The good time to do it is actually right before you're going to get like half an hour before the ship leaves. So everyone's back anyways, and they have to be there. That's a good time rather than the middle of the day or first thing in the morning.
Yeah, that cruise ship ain't stopping for nobody. It's got a schedule to keep.
It does. Yeah.
So what are kind of to wrap up the cruise portion of the show? What is there anything else you can think of that you want to mention about that? And then we're going to talk about product here in a moment. But what is there anything else you can think of on that topic?
Well, one thing that comes to mind, Christy, our office manager, is the one who's doing all the cruise bookings for us. She actually spent 10 years as a licensed travel consultant. So she is her line of work before she came to work for us she was a travel agent. So she knows exactly what she's doing. She's really awesome at this. For example, she's got lists of people who are singles, who might be interested in having a shared cabin, with somebody. So, if somebody is, by themselves, but would like to go on this cruise, the thing to do is get in touch with Christy and, just put it out there that they might be interested in sharing a cabin with somebody. She'd put the two people in touch and they can chat about it and see if they're a good fit themselves and they can decide. But yeah, Christy's a fabulous resource. If anybody has any questions about the logistics of, booking the cruise, getting to Boston, getting home from Montreal, passports, everyone's going to need a passport.
That's true. Yeah. You're moving, you're going to a different country. Yep.
Yeah. You have to have a passport. So anyway, but Christy's a great resource.
Yeah. We're actually pretty lucky it's just a coincidence that was her previous
and life. She's a geocacher. Her geocaching name is Geo Travelers.
Oh, neat.
So
good.
But what it means though, that somebody who's looking for information or, wants to talk to somebody about it, they can talk to Christy, and she's just super, super knowledgeable. And what she's, the information she passes on is it's good information. She knows what she's talking about.
Right.
So,
yeah. She's got a great experience. So that is neat. Well, very cool. We're gonna have to look into that. And I hope other people will too, because it's a fascinating.
It's going to be a ton of fun.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be great. So, well, wonderful. Well, want to mention some mega event news sponsored by IB Geocaching Supplies. Best site for geocoins, cache containers, much more can be found at ibgeocaching.com. There are a couple megas coming up. If people are in, I know there's Halloween Hoopla. Joshua Johnson, geocaching vlogger, I think he may be going there. You may see him there. That's in Maplewood, Minnesota. Then there's one that I think Valena Mahar was in the show notes. I think she mentioned she's going to this. It's in New Jersey on the 29th. Metro Gathering event, Haunted Village. It's in New. I think I'm gonna look at the chat room real fast. I think I saw that mentioned. Yes, Valena is going to be going to that one. So very cool, Valena, that you're going up to that event. And there's some others. I've got a list, obviously on the website, also in the show notes. One in Australia, in Victoria, Australia. they're having a mega there in November, and there's some in the Czech Republic. It'd be cool to kind of just travel around and just do mega events. Wouldn't that be great? Just to
That
go
would be
from
awesome. Yes.
mega, just be a mega
Throw in the
event.
occasional giga event just to round it
Yeah,
out.
just toss in a head to Germany and
Yeah.
hit a giga once in a while. That'd be awesome. So now, are there any mega events that happen up in near
Yep.
y'all? Is there? Okay. Is there?
There's a series called, comparable to Geo Woodstock is that it travels around from place to place. It's a Western Canadian mega event series. It's called WestCan.
Okay.
So WestCan 7 is happening in Swift Current, Saskatchewan this summer. And I'm afraid I don't have the exact date in
That's
front of
fine.
me.
Be sometime in July, right?
It's,
I'll put it in. Mhm.
yeah, it's probably late July.
How far is it, do you think, from you to Saskatchewan?
I don't know.
I know it's
it-
west. I know it's Western
would
Canada.
It'd be about a 20-hour drive.
Western.
We'd
Okay.
probably, it would be a 3-day road trip, or we'd fly.
Fly over
But
to it.
that event we hosted WestCan 2 here on Vancouver Island.
Oh, neat.
So it travels between British Columbia, Alberta, Saskatchewan, and Manitoba. It's always in one of those provinces
Okay, very cool.
every year in the summer.
And then product review of the week, sponsored by Cachly. Cachly is the foremost geocaching app. Can be found at cachly.com. And this week's product is very cool. We have a Halloween trackable, and Helen is showing it right now.
Yeah.
There it is. Now, tell us a little bit about how we can get our hands on one of those trackables right there.
Yeah. So this is the trackable tag, and it says Happy Halloween.
That's very
We're
cool
off-
looking. I like that one.
We have them for sale on our website, but we are also giving them away. So when people started on Friday, when people spend $25 before tax and shipping, we will include one for free. If you spend $50, you get 2. Spend $75, you get 3.
That's Canadian dollars, so
and
it's
that's
actually a lot
Canadian
cheaper
dollars.
for
So,
US.
Yeah, our website's in Canadian dollars, and if we ship to the
Okay.
US daily, we ship daily.
Cool.
And so when Americans come and you go online, do online shopping, put things in your cart, and when you get to PayPal, it converts it to US dollars. It is
neat. Okay.
a very, very good deal.
That is great.
For you guys, it is a good deal. Yeah.
Yeah.
So 25 Canadian. So what
Yes.
approximately, I'm gonna make a note in my
Get a little
show notes about
calculator.
that. What is
1.3. The exchange is about 1.35 for us. So
okay? So it's a little better for us.
Chris is quickly doing math.
We're gonna figure this out real quick. Right. It's like $4 for us. No, I'm kidding.
It's approximately 18.
$18.50 US
Oh, neat.
is approximately what 25 Canadian is right now.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So
So,
if I
yeah.
can, that's neat. Very
And
cool.
this is while supplies last. I know that we had a lot of orders this weekend.
Yeah, you were telling me that
so
this is
Been
on
busy.
because this got mentioned or is listed on the geocaching.com site. So you're getting hit.
Yeah.
A lot of people.
We put a new banner ad campaign on geocaching.com as well on Friday. So I think I might have started, or it might be starting Monday. But so that though is targeted to Canadians. So you may not see that in the
I don't see it.
US.
Okay.
It's so that's targeted up here, I believe. But we're going to be putting up a cruise one that'll be targeted to Americans and Canadians and probably Europeans too.
Yeah, I forgot to mention as I was starting to wrap up the show, but I do want to ask you real quick, when can I sign up for next year's cruise now? And as my first question, I guess my second question is, when would the red alarm go off for me as to when should I be signing up to book the cruise? Do you think?
The sooner you sign up, like the cruise line has perks and offers and things, and they change them every month, it seems. But the sooner you sign up, the sooner you can, choose to take part or accept that offer that they're offering. If you wait too late, then they may have taken that offer off.
Okay. So
and
the other
pricing.
the other
sometimes,
thing
I think
is
we're
that
locked in pretty good for pricing.
yeah, but the other thing is we block book a bunch of cabins,
Okay.
And if the cruise ship decides that it needs a certain type of cabin and they've run out from the other, these cruises fill up pretty fast. So if they
Sure.
run out of what they need, they're going to start using ours. So
You're gonna start taking them.
Yeah, they'll only let us hold them for so long.
Sure. So when's sort of a red alert time for like January? Should I definitely be booked by January, or is that too late?
I would hope it's okay.
You risk it.
You know, the thing you do if you think you want to go, get a hold of Christy and you put down a deposit.
Okay.
And the deposit's refundable, so you can change your mind.
Right. Up to a certain date,
up to a certain point.
Yeah, and I think that date's in May.
There's a date, drop dead date when you got to make your final payment.
That's not too bad, though. I mean, that's a pretty good long time to be able to reserve. You know.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
But the sooner, so really the drop dead date is that April, May. I think it's on the website for the date.
Yeah.
But the sooner the better. That your options start to deplete as time goes on. So
the choices of cabins, like so last time near the end, there was less cabins to choose from in our block.
Right.
So right now there's a whole range of different cabins to choose from.
Mm-hmm.
And all you have to do to secure your cabin is pay a deposit. It's like a couple $100, and you've paid your deposit. You choose your cabin. You choose to dine with us at 6 o'clock. You choose that you want this package, and now's the time when you've got options. You have less options. The longer you wait, the less options you have. And
more likely, the options that are left are probably maybe not the ones I want. You know, so you want to be able to pick
the penthouse. The penthouse can still be available, but it's up there. And
yes, the dollars go up probably. Do I want to spend more on that? You know, and you have to kind of make that decision. You know, about the timing. So
they have obstructed cabins and unobstructed cabins.
Oh, you know, got to think about these kind of things.
Inside balcony, you name it. Also, it's near the elevator or away from the elevator.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's a lot of things to think about. But yeah, I like appreciate you mentioning that, because that's something to, if you're gonna make a decision, it really does pay to get in. And like you said, since the deposit's really, you're not paying all of it up front, you can kind of get in. If you're like more than likely you're gonna do the cruise, get in now, and then you can kind of make your final decision a little later. But yeah,
that's right.
Very cool. So next week, for show 21, I've got Limax is going to be on the show with me we're going to do a Halloween theme and talk a little bit about geocaching around Halloween. The next week on November 6th, I have on Russ Atkinson. He's also going to give away, he wants to give away a book. So I guess he's an author. Yeah, he's an author. If you're very familiar with the Cliff Knowles series, Russ has written several books and several geocaching adventures. And so Russ is going to be on to talk about that and geocaching, his geocaching experience on November 6th. And then November 13th, kind of dubbing it Puzzle Week, because Jennifer of Team AJK, Team Magic, is going to be on my show talking about puzzle cache creation. And then a few days later, she's going to be on Geo Gearheads to talk about puzzles. So we'll have to talk to Daryl. We'll have to talk about promoting Puzzle Week. She's going to be on 2 podcasts that same week. So, but anyway, well, Chris and Helen, thank you so much for being on the show, and definitely want to have you guys on again, maybe in the spring. We can talk more about the upcoming cruise again, and just talk about the inner workings of getting ready for something like that. And that'll be neat to keep up with you guys and find out how that's going. Yep. So I hope everybody enjoyed the show tonight. Please email me your comments at geocachetalk@gmail.com. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at geocachetalk and Facebook at facebook.com/geocachetalk. Show can be found on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, as well as the Geocache Talk website. Don't forget to click on that subscribe button down below so that you can see and hear the show on a weekly basis. And until next week, don't just talk about geocaching. Do what Chris and Helen do. Do a little cruise. Enjoy the time doing that. And go geocaching. So good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.